Hello everyone and welcome. We have a lot of interesting Breath of the Wild 2 news and rumors on new dungeons, the beginning story, an official Amazon listing with details people have misinterpreted, as well as details on the newly released DLC content for Breath of the Wild Second Wind, and more. If you enjoy videos like this, and want to stay up to date on almost everything Zelda related, I ask you to please subscribe, click the like button, and give us your thoughts on all of the different Zelda topics in the comments below. Thank you. First, let's talk about this amazing update DLC for Breath of the Wild Second Wind fan mod. I'm sure most of you know about Second Wind previously adding in new dungeons, Ordon Village, new quests, and everything. With this new update, which released just a few days ago, it now adds new explorable caves, possibly based on the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, and older Zelda games such as Twilight Princess. I won't read absolutely everything from the list because there are just so many. Lots of new quests and locations, dozens of shrines have been overhauled and updated, new areas have been added, specifically Central Hyrule Underground this time. New quests, Dwayne's rocky situation, new NPCs were added to the now explorable underground area. Emerald Material, Blacksmith, Material Trader, Labors of the Hero, Rock's Tower, Grand Minister Wizrobe Boss, Elemental Rod, Helmarock Mask, bosses no longer drop weapons or materials, Goron Quiver, Sheikah Quiver, Yiga Quiver, and Overhaul for the animals. Moths have been added as environmental features, but spawn only at night. Blue ducks and other feather variants were added, and many more things. All of the people working on this update mod, giving us new experiences and new content for Breath of the Wild, are doing an absolutely amazing job, and this is the perfect way to hold fans over until the sequel releases. So I would absolutely recommend anyone to go and check this out, download it, play it for yourself, or at least check out videos of other people playing it. Now, we have a bit of news and rumors for Breath of the Wild 2. First, a lot of people are talking about this lately, and I would love to know your thoughts. From Nintendo Life, we've been waiting over half a decade for a new mainline Zelda game. It's the longest ever gap between new entries. It covers this tweet by Geo, who says, "Today marks the longest ever gap in brand new releases for the Legend of Zelda series since the first game released in 1986. The previous record for longest time between releases was Link's Awakening and Ocarina of Time, which took 5 years, 5 months, and 15 days. Interestingly, every console 3D Zelda game released has taken even longer than the last. I actually have a really great video here that goes into some behind the scenes details and some really interesting stuff on why I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to offer a lot more than most of us are thinking. They continue, time between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, 523 days. Majora's Mask and The Wind Waker, 960. The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, 1,437. Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, 1,825. Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, 1,932. Breath of the Wild to Breath of the Wild 2, he has 1,995, but by the time you're watching this, it's likely already crossed over 2,000. They say if this trend continues, the next 3D Zelda game would release in 2029, but I honestly don't think that's going to happen. Remember, Nintendo at all times has at least 3 or 4 different Zelda games being developed from multiple different studios, Grezzo, Tantalus, Koei Tecmo, and they have 2 or 3 of their own teams, as well as Monolith Soft now as an official Zelda team. This whole release date thing sort of ties in with our next story, which some of you have seen and asked me about. What If Gaming reports Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 Amazon listing surfaces, and mostly covers this tweet from Andrew, who says, "A listing for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 has appeared on Amazon Germany for $69.99. The game has not been listed previously. While this may be the first time it has officially appeared on Amazon, Walmart and other stores have done this same thing. A lot of you have seen the December 31st, 2023 release date and have been worried the game has been delayed. This isn't the case at all. This is just a placeholder date. This works a few different ways. If we know the year a game or something else releases, but not the exact date, the company will just put that year and the last day of that year as its release date and simply update it later when the company making the product officially announces it. If we know it will release during a specific season or time of year, but not the month, you may see them put Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4 as the release date. And sometimes you can even see them put the month, but have the day, the last day of that month. An example being, instead of having Breath of the Wild release March 3rd, 2017, you would say December 31st, 2017, or just have the last day of March. We covered this a lot before on other videos and our Zelda podcast, the Hylian Gamescast, so this was just a quick explanation to say, don't worry, it hasn't been delayed. Finally, the last rumor we have is one that a few of you sent me about dungeons in Breath of the Wild 2, and some story details. WCCF Tech reports The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 will be more linear. Dungeons may make a comeback. Rumor. This rumor is from Tyler, who runs Valve News Network, and has apparently gotten a lot of Valve leaks and rumors correct. I will admit, I'm not familiar with him. I feel like I have heard his name before, so I'm not sure on if he has a reliable track record outside of Valve or not. He says, unlike the first part, the game will be linear at the beginning. Canonically, Link already knows Hyrule, so there is no point in climbing the towers again. Instead, the developers have filled the world with a miasmic version of Ganon, and until the infection is cleared from location to location, it will be impossible to move around the entire Hyrule, as players won't have the same amount of freedom. It seems like locations will be deeper than in the original. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 may also feature dungeons, which would be a very welcome addition. In this regard, the locations are worked out much deeper than in the original, at the very least. Travis hints at the appearance of dungeons, strongly inspired by one game that knows a lot about spreading dungeons around the open world. The leaker also added the game's world is apparently being inspired not only by Red Dead Redemption 2, but also by another unknown game. In general, while designing the world of Breath of the Wild 2, developers were inspired by Red Dead Redemption 2, officially known, and another unknown game. This last bit of information is something that multiple people at Nintendo have confirmed and stated several different times. The other unknown game? I actually have a video here that goes in depth on almost every single interview and official detail about the game, where they discuss the games that have inspired Breath of the Wild 2 and other influences and ideas they want to add to the sequel that were left out of the original. And again, everything in the video is coming directly from the producer, director, or someone else working with Nintendo. So let me know what you think of all of this. Would you be excited for more linear style dungeons? Or would you like them to keep the more open Divine Beast style? Or if they sort of mixed the two and brought back traditional themed temple style dungeons, but kept the inside of the dungeons and the puzzles more open, like they did with the shrines or the Divine Beasts. If you have any questions you would like for us to answer, or news and topics you would like us to discuss in a video or our podcast, you can leave them below in the comments, and we will get to as many as we can. And if you are a Patreon supporter, we will guarantee that your answer is moved to the top of the list to be answered or discussed first on our podcast, which happens every Thursday at 9:30 Eastern or 6:30 Pacific. Thank you to Riker1 Tramel Shefford, someone whose name is only donated to hear Jesse speak my name and then didn't give me his name. Gene Pinna, Disappointment, Joseph Stewart, ZAIN JIWANI, SOBERX, Mr. Monocled Metroid, David Guthman, Zoe M, Natsu, Jesse Wood, Andremoy, Ashton, Justin Clark, Candy, Chad Costin, Blargnar, Monica Spath, Lovable Christie, and Gus Calvo. I apologize if I got some of your names wrong. Please comment below, or you can message me directly to correct how I pronounced your name. Thank you all for your support, and I hope these videos keep entertaining everyone.